Welcome to Startup Hack. All right, so I started my first company in 2009. Since then, I've learned a ton about the things that can really kill your business before it even gets off the ground. So I want to share some of these most important lessons that I've learned and hopefully save you some of the pain or help you accelerate even faster. Keeping that business alive or helping it hit the afterburners in those first years can make all the difference. So let's dive into some of these invaluable lessons today. Welcome back to Startup Hack. I'm Spencer Thompson. Here at Startup Hack, we love to train software developers in our licensed coding boot camps and build custom software solutions for companies. With a decade of executive leadership as a fractional CTO and business owner and 25 years in software development, I've mastered transforming tech teams and products. All right, so let's talk about some of the things that every entrepreneur or business owner needs to hear. Things you have to know when owning your own company or trying to get one off the ground. So whether you're just starting out or you've been in the game for a little while, these points that I'm going to give you today are going to save you some time, some money, and hopefully a whole lot of headaches. So let's dig into some of these today, but I want to really help you out. And one of the best things you can do for me is to leave a comment down below and hit like and subscribe, because that's the best compliment you get to me is just even saying hello. Now, one of the very first things is you want to focus on systems, not just goals. Goals are great, but I see people who are starting a business listing out a whole bunch of goals before they even really know what business they're doing. So you got to build systems to get you there, right? Build processes that scale as your company grows. Automate repetitive tasks to free up your time. I think one of the biggest success that I've had is every business I've started has always been with technical co-founders or by myself who's very technical. So I automate everything. Rather than hire things, I automate it. And I think this has really paid off dividends. Now, there's a balance here because sometimes you can spend so long trying to automate something that you could have just, spent maybe 10 hours a week on. But so it's a balance here, and there's more art to science here. And that really goes in next to the team building, right? I really think remote work is where it's at, right? But it does have a different style that it takes to build and manage a remote team. One of the very first things I always suggest with remote teams is keep the org structure really flat, right? And trust is built through actions, not just words. So set clear expectations, and this will prevent a lot of the problems. When I hire, I make sure I make these offers to hire people, and I set very clear expectations on what the expectations are. And then you've got to make sure you celebrate small wins, right? Call out when people are doing good, because it's really easy for wins to get lost in a remote environment. And most small companies that are starting up nowadays are starting off remote because it's so expensive to start in person. And frankly, you just don't really need to. And I'll show you some stats that I've been looking at recently, but just trust me, work from home is really where it's at and staying remote. It allows you to hire good talent and allows you to hire it at a fraction of the cost. Now, product development is really important, and users rarely tell you exactly what you need to know. Testing in production is actually going to teach you more than perfect plans. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with this. A lot of people who think you really have to have a perfected feature to get it to production. But I'm a big firm believer that you get it to production and then you learn. You don't believe me? How many years was Gmail in beta? Gmail sat in beta for, I believe it was 6 years, and had millions and millions of users before they took the beta sticker off, right? So I'm a big believer in testing in productions. Now, feature creep will kill your product more than bad code. I really believe that. Bugs and stuff can happen. You can survive a lot of that, but feature creep to take an exorbitant amount of time to get stuff out will kill you faster. So the speed of iteration beats perfection. And I always tell my teams, better, not perfect. Done is better than perfect. And so you get something, you get it out, you get into the customer's hands, get that feedback, and get it translated back to the next feature and iterate. Iterate quickly. Not every feature request deserves attention. And so backlog is your friend. You can take something, you can show somebody, you got the story, you put it in the backlog, you wait for it, right? So this is the next part that I'm going to go to, and because this is really the big thing, is finance. Revenue solves most problems, right? When revenue's coming in, there's a lot of other problems that it can solve. So if you're picking between something that is either a really noisy customer, but it's not going to produce a lot of money, or something that's going to buy you more customers and bring in more revenue, pick the revenue one every single time. Understand your numbers and dig at those numbers. Cash flow is king and profit is next, right? Keep fixed costs low as long as possible. Be careful of every dollar that goes out. Now, you want to be careful on that because if you can make a strategic hire or a strategic purchase that's going to accelerate your business or free you up to do more to go get more revenue, then don't be afraid to spend that cash if it's going to bring you back to driving more revenue. So your pricing strategy is going to be a whole lot different thing. And we could make a whole video about how to price strategy stuff. And frankly, I don't know that I'm the best at this. So most startups die from overspending, not under earning. Now, if your company is managing different systems and you're having a hard time connecting, I was just working with a client the other day who told me that their Zapier bill was almost $20,000 in 1 month. Man, reach out to us because my team can help you get systems connected for a fraction of that cost. We can help you connect your systems so that your business can continue to grow and work like a well-oiled machine. So check out startuphack.com/Spencer. Or just leave me a comment down below and I'll hit you up, right? So that goes to the next one. Hire slow, fire fast, right? The wrong hire can cost you more than just money. It can tank morale. It can burn a hole through your company. It literally becomes a cancer. If you are wondering if you should fire somebody, the answer is most likely yes. If you're thinking about that, it's time to let that person go. So take your time to find the people who align with your vision because they're going to stay through the bumpy times. If someone isn't working out, don't drag it out. Rip the Band-Aid off. It's best for everybody. They can move on to a new job. You can move on and continue to build your company. A bad fit is like a bug in your code. You want to fix it before it crashes the whole system. And no, your cousin's friends who knows computers is not always the best hire. So I'm very, very cautious to work with family or with friends. Now, document absolutely everything. If it's not written down, it doesn't exist. Processes, policies, and even those quick fixes need to be documented. This is part of the reason I really like Kanban and stories, and I'm constantly telling my developers, document into the story. Great systems like Azure DevOps or something, or a lot of Jira or some of these other systems that you use to use user stories and build Kanban boards can be great documentation places and make sure your code is linked to them. This can save you time when you're onboarding new team members. It also protects you if things go sideways. So think of it like commenting your code. Future you will thank you, okay? Now, there's some marketing realities. Content marketing is a marathon. It's not a sprint. I tell people all the time, they'll be like, well, we sent an email on that. I'm like, you've got to send 100 emails before you're going to start getting some attention. Social media presence needs to be consistent. Your brand is what other people say about you. Marketing spend should be very carefully measured. Don't just burn expecting that you're going to do it. Track every dollar. And word of mouth is going to be paid advertising absolutely every time. So be authentic. And just like I am here, like you see my real deal. This is my office. You can see the Raspberry Pi back there that I'm working on for one of my next videos. I'm as, you see all my clean routers back behind me, right? I'm as authentic as I can get. So be authentic, dive in. Now you got to have a really good sales strategy too, because sales cycles are always going to be longer than you think. Your price affects your sales process. So if your higher price, the longer the sales cycle is going to be. So just know that. Sales teams need very clear metrics, and you got to follow up where your sales are coming from, right? Now, operational excellence is really important, and systems are going to beat goals every time, like I talked about. Automate the routine, focus on the exception, right? Don't worry about automating the exception. Just make sure that you're automating the happy path. And then if you have a way to have a release valve that says, hey, if it's this, kick it out and get a process for it, right? Documentation will save you a ton of headaches. Now, if your systems are causing you a ton of headaches and your tech infrastructure needs support, check out startuphack.com/Spencer because we can help you out. Now, you want to get into a sustainable growth, and it's going to be rapid expansion, right? Hire ahead of the pain. Scale breaks everything eventually. So your culture is going to change with the size. Communication is going to get harder the bigger you get. So you really need to work to keep your core values visible and work with your team on those. But that also means that you and your time management needs to be very good. You need to tell you, and you look at your calendar, and it's going to reflect what your priorities are. So email is someone else's to-do list. If somebody emails you, that means you've got on somebody else's to-do list, and you need to make sure you manage your to-do list. So if you can, and you're the business owner, you got to delegate or die trying. Now, there's a lot of strategy to how to delegate, because as a business owner, you wear a ton of hats, right? And that goes really into the example of leadership. You really need to lead by example. or you're not leading at all. And transparency is going to build trust, right? So the more transparent you can be, and you can't always be fully transparent, but the more transparent you can be, the more it's going to build trust. Now, decisions also need clear ownership. I ask people all the time, okay, who's going to own this? Because if nobody owns it, then nobody owns it, right? So good leaders are going to work to make more leaders, and that's something that's really important. So if I've said anything that's been really helpful here, leave me a comment. And if you are interested in having us reach out and help if you're interested in having us help your company, help solve some of your technical problems, reach out to us at startuphack.com/Spencer. Here at Startup Hack, we love to have a great discussion, and we love to train software developers in our licensed coding bootcamp, as well as to build custom software solutions for companies. So reach out because we'd love to help, and here's some great information for you, and we'll catch you guys later.
Want to become a software developer but don't want to spend 4 years in college and rack up massive student loan debts? Think you need technical expertise to get started? Welcome to Startup Hack, a better way to start your software career without student loans and years without income. One-on-one tutoring is included so you never get stuck and have guidance through the whole process. No technical experience is necessary. Learn at your own pace and in your own space. Startup Hack has worked with local state agencies in your area to make it so that qualifying students can get the program costs covered entirely and students can start earning while they learn.
Startup Hack's .NET Coding Bootcamp was a game changer for my career. As someone with no prior programming experience, I was initially intimidated by the idea of learning to code, but the instructors at Startup Hack broke down complex concepts into easy to understand lessons and provided hands-on projects that really cemented my understanding. The curriculum was comprehensive and up to date and got me ready for my first job. What really set Startup Hack apart was the focus on practical, real-world skills. Thanks to Startup Hack, I landed my dream job as a .NET developer within weeks of graduating. I went from knowing nothing about code to building professional-grade web applications in just a few intense months. If you're looking to break into .NET development or level up your coding skills, I cannot recommend Startup Hack enough.
Complete our 3-month coding bootcamp, gain hands-on experience, and land a paid internship. With 2 years of experience on average, our graduates are making over $80,000 per year. The 3-month program includes technologies from Microsoft, Google, and Facebook. No debt, just a quick path to earning. Check out startuphack.com to code your future.